Welcome to another tutorial here inside the Halftone Pro panel, and today's tutorial is about the manual halftone step, the classic for black fabric. Again, you don't need to make any manual changes here in Photoshop. Our feature, even though it says manual here, is actually 100% automatic. First step, then, click on the manual button and it will open our first script prompt. Here you set the LPI frequency at which the halftone will be applied. I'm going to set 30 here as my standard. Our second prompt. Here, you determine how much shadow our software will remove from your design. So here, by default, it's already set to 40, which is the same as the automatic button. So if I lower this intensity, it will preserve more shadows in the design. If I increase it, it will remove more shadows from the design. I'm going to do it both ways so that, once again, and you can see in practice how it works here. I'll leave it at 10, so you know. Here we have our intensity prompt, where Halftone is applied to the lighter areas. So here, by default, it's already set to 20, which is the same as the automatic button. If I lower it, it preserves more solid details in the design. The design looks more washed out if I increase it. It will apply more intensity, a halftone, to the lighter areas. It will result in a more open halftone. So here, I'll also do both steps so you can see in practice how this works. So our first command will be a halftone with more shadows and less intensity applied to the lighter areas. Click OK. Unlike the halftone rosette, here you have the option to set the angle at which the halftone will be applied. Here at 45 degrees by default, it already appears diagonal. If you set it to 90 or 0 degrees, you'll make it either horizontal or vertical. This is more of an aesthetic choice for the halftone, for how the halftone is applied. This really changes how you see the halftone applied when you print it on a t-shirt. Usually straighter angles, like 90 or 0 degrees, tend to be more noticeable when you print and transfer it onto the t-shirt. You can spot the halftone pattern a bit more easily with the naked eye. Usually when it's at an angle, on the diagonal like 45, 25. It's harder for the naked eye to see this halftone pattern. But it's just an aesthetic thing. It won't change the LPI frequency or the halftone dot itself. So here I'll leave it at 45 degrees, which is the standard. I'll click OK. Again, our proportion selector will pop up. Here you can set it according to how you'll use it and always keep it at 300 dpi. I click OK. I wait for it to load. The whole process happens right there in Photoshop. Alright, the first halftone's gone. Now I go back here to my original design. I click again on the manual step. 30 LPI, same frequency as the first one. Here, since I set it to 10, I'll set this one to 80. I'm going to increase the intensity of the shadow cleaning. And here, since I set it to 5, I'll set it to 90. Here I'm going to increase the intensity at which the halftone will be applied to the lighter areas. I click OK. Same 45-degree angle. OK, again. And I wait for it to finish the process in Photoshop. All done. The halftone's fished. I'll even put it here in the preview with the dark layer behind it. And you can already clearly see the difference between the two halftones. Here we have a halftone with less shadow. Actually with more shadows, sorry. It has a higher intensity of shadows because we eliminated only a few. So you can already see a very strong shading here on the side. Shading here inside the t-shirt, the clothing. Usually in the darker areas, you can already see more shadow details. On the other hand, our lighter tones ended up looking more washed out. Notice that it doesn't have almost any halftone applied on top of the skin tones. Red. These lighter shades of green, they have a very faint intensity of application. If you lower it and set it to 1, 0, it will make it even more solid. Here, where we applied it with more intensity, we already have a more pronounced halftone applied with more intensity even in the lighter areas. The difference between one and the other is that here you have small halftone dots. Here you can barely see them. They're almost imperceptible. The halftone dots are tiny. And here, as you increase the intensity, it increases the size of the halftone that's applied. So you already have more halftone screen with much greater intensity. That's why the design looks faded, because the whole design, it contrasts with the black background. About the issue of shadows, that's also very noticeable. Notice that in none of the tones of the design, can you see those dark shadows? If I zoom out here, these areas with darker color. Usually there's more tonality here because there are preserved shadows. If I want to leave it somewhere in the middle, I come here and go back again, click on Manual. LPI frequency, or here it's set to 40. I want to make the shadows a bit more visible, so I set it to 30 here and here. Thinking about using it, it's still a little washed out. I want the application to be a bit more intense. It's set to 20 by default. Set it to 30 and set the angle to 45 degrees. Click OK, and it already starts with a different intensity. Like I said with the halftone rosette, this is more of a personal preference. And also about evaluating your artwork, and also the fabric that will be used to decide what works best when you're applying the halftone. Every step you change in the prompt will give you a different result. Here, look, it's already a little more intense, the application is a bit stronger, but the design isn't too faded or washed out. I can come here to Enhancements and Protections, and add a color boost, for example. Click OK, and we can already bring the colors back to life a bit more. It becomes a really well-dotted, breathable halftone, saving ink, and will probably look really cool on the t-shirt. And that was the manual step for the classic halftone on black fabric. Again, if you have any questions, you can reach out to our support team. It's our pleasure to help.